Hey everybody, welcome back. I know it's been some time. There's always, I guess, the other part of YouTube where they censor things out. So a couple of videos, they wouldn't allow to air, and that's okay. Again, it's their rights, the videos that we do. And again, I'm not coming against YouTube, but I even challenged the one video because it's basically stuff I've already talked about, and it's stuff all over the world. I mean, it's being spoken everywhere, so it's not like I'm the only one speaking these things, but I'm okay with it. So I'm hoping now that if this video gets uploaded, then my suspension time's over. But in the meantime, on between that, I've been working on a lot of other stuff, praying. Right now I'm going through basically a 3 months prayer time and devotion time, to the Lord. He came to me a while back in prayer and said, if you do these things that I'm asking, I'm going to reveal a lot of things to you. And through the concept of all this, it means I'm not watching television. I'm not going into a lot of communication with people and talking to people unless he tells me, to reach out or to go ahead and accept a phone call. So that's the whole long part of all this. But my train of thought just lost. Feels like forever since I've actually been on YouTube. A lot of stuff coming up, I just want to get all that out of the way because I know it's been a while. But I'm getting ready to do a live event, which I believe it's going to be pretty awesome. Now, I do understand the live events, that it goes to the point that people are commenting, and you're just going to have to give me some time, okay? Because answering comments and trying to talk is very difficult for me anyways. It's like chewing gum and walking. I never have understood that, because I would chew gum and walk and go, well, what's so difficult about it? Joking. But anyways, thank you for the ones that reached out to ask if everything was going okay. That is, it touches your heart, and I really do appreciate all that. The other part is the live event. I reached out to a couple people. I got reply back from one. I kind of want to bring some people onto the channel too, so they can touch on their testimonies and stuff. The one guy lives in Canada. He comments a lot on here. I just did some prayers and stuff with him. My good brother Brandon, I'm just waiting on him to get all his stuff together. But again, it's in God's timing. Everything's done in there. Couple people I haven't heard back from yet, but and again, doing these channels and doing stuff, I'm sure they're all pretty busy doing their own things too, but that's okay too. It's not like I have to have him on here. I mean, it was just that olive branch, I guess, offering out to him. But and again, the longer people do things that they don't understand why you're not replying back or you're not getting back a hold of them. And it's not that people's not on my mind, and it's not that I'm being inconsiderate or I'm thinking I'm bigger and better than anybody else on here. Again, I couldn't even tell you how many viewers and how many subscribers and stuff that are on here, because it's not about the numbers. It never has been. It's about getting God's truth, and it's about bringing my life into there to show how God truly exists and to show how the demonic. I don't know if I said it. I know it was on one of them, but it might have been one of the ones that got pulled off. But I just finished up that returning to hell and bringing what the Lord walked me through and showed me even a few places in hell that I've never even seen. I mean, it just blew my mind watching and walking through some of that area. And again, too, you know, people with everything going on right now, you really got to be cautious of what you're listening to and people who you're listening to, because there's so many people out here just want fame and fortune. And when I mean fame and fortune, I mean the fortune part with it too, because there's some people that I just don't understand. I mean, I've literally, and again, I'm not saying I'm the pro at this, and I'm not saying everything that what I speak is the only way, because that's not true. God reveals stuff to many people. Lucifer's going to reveal all kinds of things to people. But I have to, and I got everything at home when I was touching on the colors of Christmas also. And I brought hell into it, and I brought the kingdom into it. So you could truly see the difference and why one side looks a color this way and why blue means something in the demonic realm. You know, but the one color that stands the same in all this is red. It represents blood. Blood is very powerful. Blood is powerful in the demonic realm. Depends on the potions and whatever you're doing with it. But blood is powerful because Jesus shed his blood. And, you know, and again, the Lord's been showing me a lot lately on not being so judgmental, I guess. And you realize if you're having an argument with someone and you start picking out their faults to prove a point, and in reality, you know, sometimes Darlene, she's not going to get mad because she knows how I am with things. You know, I just put it all out there. Sometimes my facial expressions. Sometimes, you know, and again, I don't make any kind of excuses. God is my witness. There's days, people, when I'm walking, I mean, the pain just doesn't stop. I mean, it's even hard to get a few hours sleep. I try to sit up, I try to lay down, I try to prop my legs up. I have tried everything, putting heating pads, putting ice. It is what it is. So I don't make excuses. It's the truth. You got to take someone that's tired. It could be, you know, sometimes I'm hungry. Sometimes the tiredness comes into it. And you just drove as much as you can drive in a day. And you do everything you've done. And you take that pain and bring that into the equation. Unless you physically had your hips and your legs and your back and everything doing at once, you can't really say, because it makes you, it draws it out of you, I guess is a better way that I'm trying to say. And it makes me more tired. But you realize if you're tired or something and all of a sudden you're bringing somebody else's faults. Well, this is what it looks like. This is what it is. And, you know, and it's not so much Darlene either. I mean, I've had a lot of people over the years say, man, your facial expressions, your body motions, your tone of your voice. People, I'm not ever going to apologize. Because I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody. If I was trying to be, you would definitely know the anger tone, because that's exactly what I go to. Straight to that boxing defense, that fighting defense. And, you know, you go into that area in life. But, you know, after the Lord said that, I got thinking about it, going, you know what, how many arguments did I go into myself, and somebody just irritates the living tar out of you by da-da-da-da-da, you know, it feels like they're just attacking you. Then all of a sudden go, well, what about you? See, we don't like to hear things, what about you? You know, you got to understand Jesus died for everybody, not just for the believers, because we too were sin. Many of you think that you're great and you're going to go on for good works. I'm sadly telling you right now, you're mistaken. Good works alone will not get you into the kingdom. You also got to understand that gossiping is breaking someone's spirit. Look at my past couple years. What happened? You know, even all of it, family besides a few on the outside. But you know what the amazing part about it is just like I tell everybody, until they come stepping up on the doorstep to look me in the face and not be such cowards. But then again, you gotta understand what the devil is. The devil's a coward himself. You gotta understand what you're dealing with. So you gotta be able to listen to the words that people speak. You have to know the difference between a heavenly voice and an evil voice. You know, most people, if they're going to start off, well, I'm not trying to offend you. If you start off a conversation like that, then you should stop the conversation. Seriously. You know, we are coming into a time, you look at Israel being attacked, Jerusalem, we know that will not receive. But let's think about the punishment. You know, a lot of the Jews hold the old ways of thinking and still look at Jesus as a prophet. Even during their holiday feast, they still put a plate down for Elijah. A while back in prayer, the Lord told me, and I'm sure this isn't going to come as a shock. I'm sure by now people have heard this. You would hope. The Lord told me, when people stop looking for the Antichrist and start looking for me, you know, and I thought about that, going, you know what? I spent a lot of times looking at the signs, looking at the events taking place, and it's showing the rise of the Antichrist. And I started to put so much devotion, so much focus on that I stopped looking for the return. And then that's when all these other things started opening back up. And I'm going through tablets and I'm looking at things and I'm going, wow, you know, this is intense. This is incredible. You know, I got an email from a guy a while back. They were watching some of the videos and stuff. And hopefully this is going to lead into an opportunity to come into their church and to really unfold a lot of what I'm getting ready to unfold to you guys in the next few videos on here. You know, I just want to clear something up on the transgender side of it, because I was just reading an email today. I was seeing if this guy replied back yet. I was reading an email from a transgender, and they said, do you really believe all the things that you say? And I said, yes, 100%. 100%, otherwise I wouldn't say it. Is your videos for real? Well, they're about as real as hell in heaven. About as real as my flesh. What I've seen, what I've been through is 100% real. Exactly what I sent them back. Now I know some people think that I came against people that left bad comments or have said, no, I'm not coming against them. I'm not. All I'm doing is bringing the truth of God and coming against the Antichrist and the demons that leak and rule in through them. The same as Jesus did. We have the authority and the power to defeat demons. It's a spiritual battle, just like I've said in many videos, and people come against that. And when I call it the devil's playground. Well, that's your opinion. You don't have to think of it as the devil's playground, but you tell me if this is a godly world that we're walking in, and I'm going to question what God you serve. Do I have the rights to do that? Yes. The Bible says, test them by their fruits. You look at the gifts of the Spirit. You know, there's 9 gifts that's poured out. But then you go into the same book and you look at the signs of an evil entity. It doesn't take long to figure out what you're doing with. Now, I know with Christmas coming up and a lot of people, my thing is this. I don't really care, and I'm trying to be the nicest I can be about this. I don't really care what your thoughts are on the whole idea, whether I put up lights or if I don't. Because I'm putting them up because it represents something to me. I know for a fact, if it's the time framing, and you go into, like I said on these videos in the prior past, think about this. The idea of 3 wise men was there from the beginning of the birth when Mary first had Jesus. No. Impossible. Because Herod said what? Go and kill him 2 years of age and under. Now you got to understand they had to travel to him. That would put Jesus roughly probably about 1.5, 2 years of age. Because the Bible talks about him wandering around. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then the wise men truly were not at the birth. Did they eventually make it? Yes, I believe so. Did they leave the gold, the myrrh, and frankincense? Yes, I believe they did. And I believe they did. And I also believe in my thoughts that some of this was sold for their travel, for their expenses, for food, whatever they needed. I truly believe it. Because that would have been worth a lot back then. So think about it. What was Joseph? A carpenter. But Jesus became a carpenter. What did Jesus go and do when he ascended back to heaven? He went and built a new kingdom. Doesn't surprise you if you really think about Jesus and you think about all he's got. I had a person ask me, you know, you put Jesus as this like comedy type thing that laughs and sits down and makes jokes, and he does. I mean, why does that surprise you? He's man. He was human. And I'm not really going to dive into a lot of this right now, but, you know, people wanted scripture on speaking about Jesus and God not being the same. You know, what gives you the right to speak such thing when clearly God became flesh? No, Jesus became flesh. God is spiritual. God has never become flesh. The Son of Man. What does that mean when Jesus says the Son of Man? He's the son of a man. When Adam was created, what did he say? Let's make him in our image. I don't see I really don't see. And if you go into the book of John, you go into Matthew, you go into there where they're speaking about being arrested, or speaking about Jesus going into prayer. You know, you think about what Jesus was praying for. You know, Jesus was praying for us. There's a whole thing in there. And I don't have my other Bible, otherwise I'd read the scriptures. But I'm going to do the video on that because it also feeds back into the hell part that I went back into. And it just blew my mind how we overlook some of these important keys. But my thing of it is you really think about it, and you think about Peter and all them, you know, you think about Jesus out there praying, and they couldn't even stay awake. You know, you think about Jesus out there and coming back to him the way that he was, all shooken up, and, you know, because you just been revealed into what you're about to happen to you. If I just walked up to you and whispered in your ear, they're going to come and arrest you. I'm sorry, but they're going to strip you down with no clothing and literally beat you beyond recognition. You're going to get some of your hair under your head just pulled out of you. You're going to have your part of your beard plucked out of you. And then they're going to place a thorn of crowns on you, and they're going to beat the living tar out of you. And you're going to shed a lot of blood. And a lot of blood. And more blood. And they're going to continue to hit you. They're going to continue to spit all over you. Now, does anybody think for a slight little moment here that you think about Jesus praying and he asked them 3 times? 3 times. Now let me flip this back to you. How is your prayer time? How much time do you really give Jesus in prayer? You know, because I've been speaking about this where the Father wants people to come to that secret place. Any place in your house that is just you. Find a time, get all the distractions out of your life. Maybe you're getting up using the restroom in the morning, getting coffee, grabbing something to put in you because your belly's growling. Whatever it is, but then go to that secret place. You know, so many people come against meditation. So many people come against speaking in tongues. You know, I find myself in tongues a lot. You know, because when I first start going into that deep prayer, I still can hear like echoes in the night. There's nothing wrong with it. Matter of fact, the devil can't hear. He doesn't understand it. If we go into the brain talking to Jesus and God, the devil never hears. When we speak out loud, he hears that. He strikes against that. You know, temptation is it's all around us. Your lust of your flesh, that is the hardest thing in the world to stop. You know, during this examination time that I've been going through, and trust me, people, I've been pulling a lot of stuff that I literally thought was done in my life. A lot of things that I had to dig deep in some. It was almost like it rooted in me. It was like hanging on, like nope, nope, nope. You know, so you look at it and go, when I started asking Jesus, I said, you know, can you help me? Can you examine me deeper? You know, I surrender everything to you. From the basement all the way up to my attic up here. And that's how I look at my body. The attic and all the way down to the very basement. There's many levels in my body, in my dwelling of myself, because I've made a lot of them. But you know, people, it's time to really examine ourselves. You know, how many of you can honestly raise your hand right now and say, if Jesus came right now, I'd be ready? Well, I'm gonna share something with you. I literally thought I was. But after the more I've been examining myself for the last few weeks, there's a lot of bitterness that is not good, because that leads to hatred. And I guess the thing that irritates me the most is when people come to you and tell you they're these big Christians and they are, you know, they grew up in the satanic realm and you know, and I hate to say it like this, but blah 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 blah. You speak a good game, but when you physically come and attack someone, now all of a sudden, well, I never said I wasn't in sin. Well, yeah, you did. But the thing that got me the most was, this is when I realized, and this is when I blocked the whole situation. I just totally blocked it. I was like, I'm not even going down the devil's pyramid here. Notice I didn't say it's the devil's path, the devil's pyramid. Any of you that truly understands the satanic realm, you would understand what I just said. But I bet you if I walked up to half of the people that claim to know the satanic realm, and this is nothing you can Google. You can't Google this to get the answer. I tried. It doesn't show up. So, you would truly know exactly what I just said. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some people probably commenting on this one going, I think I know. And if you do, I will answer, but I'm going to wait. That triangle, what happens is, you pass in the wrong direction. And that's all I'm going to say on it. But there's a lot to it. And these people that claim to be in this, and, you know, the problem is, here's what's happening here. A lot of people are dabbing into this because they spoke it. And I believe a couple people that has came against things or are speaking about, I believe these are people that are watching things. And let me tell you something, hell sells. It really does. People get drawn into that. You know why? Because your spirit draws you into it. The spirit draws you into it because you want to see if anything mentions about your sin. Well, I'm good because they didn't mention mine. Are you? A couple of days ago, I was going back and forth, and the Lord said, let me ask you something. I said, yes, Lord, anything. You know my heart, you know my mind. I cannot lie to you. Even if I did, it wouldn't work. Very true, he says. I always like it when Jesus chuckles, because it just kind of makes you just smile. You know, his sense of humor. What we see is like Jesus standing there with with a magnifying glass, just burning us up. You know, that's what we think of God, you know, this hateful, spiteful man that is just going to punish and destroy everybody. Well, let me tell you right now, part of my prayer every day, thank you for your discipline. Thank you for your correction when it's needed in my life. You know, I have no problems asking for that to enter into my life from him. It keeps me on that straight and narrow path going upwards. You know, but when you claim to be of God, and very impressive, I read the Bible, the whole Bible, before I was going to do any videos, before I was going to do anything, read the whole entire Bible. Well, let me tell you what, your master understands the word better than you. And I'm not speaking about Jesus or God. I'm speaking about the master of all masters of evil. That's why you think you're so clever. But let me tell you something. When you can honestly say, I'm tired of waiting on Jesus, I'm going to do it myself. That is the devil in the devil's house. You already entered into a triangle that you don't even know nothing about. I have no place for wicked. I have no more patience for wicked. Because the time is narrowing. It's like the hourglass. You're watching the grains of sand fall through there. The time is coming, people. We can lead on this journey down that pathway to where Christ is, standing on that bridge, waiting for you. But if your arms ain't open wide and you're not willing to allow him to get into your life, into your house, and from your attic into your basement, to allow things to be pulled out of you, you're going to have a hard time getting in heaven. But if you're having a hard time with what's going on in this world, you're going to have a hard time with what's coming. Now, I know some of you have been asking for me to go more into that. I don't think YouTube's going to allow me to do it. I really don't. So I have another person that I've been asking about different things. I'm not going to stop doing YouTube because there was one person that recommended the channel, and they just kind of tossed the videos off, saying that this is too graphic for people to comprehend. Okay, well, just look outside the window. Because the very things I speak about in hell is happening right outside right now today. People, I've been seeing more and more demons walking this earth than I have ever seen in my life. I see the ones that I call the whisperer and the shadow gaining more ground. I already told you there was one that walked the earth not too long ago when I was at a truck stop coming out. And these people were rushing around to get into that building. And when they finally ran into me, I'm like, what, are you okay? I thought somebody was chasing them. And they said, no. And I watched it walk past. And I said, is that what's bothering you? And the guy looked at me and says, the angel of death. I said, well, why are you so fearful of death? It's the angel of death. Well, first of all, you're seeing something that most people don't see. So I'm kind of curious about that. You could truly see the angel of death. And they said yes. His husband and the wife both said yes. I said, and that doesn't throw up alarms to you? Oh, no. Why doesn't it? Oh, I do tarot cards and I do readings, and the wife's going on and on and on. She lights different candles and potions, and I said, stop. That scares you, but what you're doing doesn't. Have you ever had anything manifest? She said yes, all the time. Some of them claim to be family members, but they're not. I said, how do you know that? She said, because I can hear different languages coming from them. And I know that that's not a single person. I said, interesting. Have you ever seen hell? They said, no. I said, what if I gave you a little example of it? And as soon as I start talking about things, it's like, no, I don't even want to listen to it. You don't want to listen to it, but you're doing all these things, but you can see the angel of death. You're fearful of the angel of death because hell, you never die. See, in heaven, we get remade. And, I don't understand why people have such hard problems, grasping that there's animals up in heaven and they go through the whole, I don't believe some of the stuff you said. Well, you don't have to believe me. But I will tell you one thing. If you end up in the other place, in between the time of you being tortured and going through every sin that you have done, you're going to be able to see heaven. I promise you that. But they're not going to be able to see you. You're going to scream, cry out. You are going to do everything under the sun trying to get their attention, but it's not going to work. If you can't survive here, you're not going to be able to survive when Christ calls, because what does he say? Father, the people that you have given me. Let that sink in for a few minutes there. Father, the people that you have given me. Well, we need to start looking at ourselves. And this video that I'm going to do about on the examination, I believe it's going to open some eyes up for people. And I believe you're going to start looking around your house even more. Does anybody recall the video I did a while back about that little boy going out there with the Harry Potter stuff and throwing his stuff away? I actually was thinking about that. I was talking to a person the other day, and they said, of all your memorable events, good and bad, what was one of the things that stuck out to you the most? And I said, that little boy. It really touched my heart in a good way. And I can't think of her name. There is a lady, I believe, in Florida that has 4 boys. It's either 3 boys or 4 boys down in Florida. But it wasn't her. It was another one. She's the one that wanted me to do the video on the buckets. And I finally got a chance to do that. But it was the fact that it touched me because a single mom playing both roles into a household, the fact that she wanted something to basically be able to protect her children. Now, I don't know why I can't remember her name. I'd have to probably go back through the videos because I remember her face in that little circle bubble thing that comes on there. Like mine just pulls up. I don't know. Some people's it pulls up a purple. Some people pulls a green in. But whatever. I never thought of putting a picture there because you can see me. And I understand that some people don't want to be seen. They don't want, the world's things out there, but I really don't care. I have no problem speaking about God, and I have no problem speaking about Jesus, and I have no problems confessing my love for both of them and what the devil has drugged me through, that I have allowed him. He's never done anything to me. I've done it myself. I don't give him credit for any of that stuff. He just presented it. He didn't even make some of the stuff look good. But when you're in a spiral out of control pathway, it doesn't matter what he presents. Something's better than nothing. But, I think about people being scared about things, losing their house. Where are they going to go? They got children. Financial people losing jobs. You think about 9/11, you think about all the conspiracies with that nonsense. That might not even be probably the right word to even use, conspiracy, because, so let's just scratch that, because I know I'm going to get probably hit on that one, but, it wasn't what it seems, people. What's going on isn't what it seems to be, okay? Fear is fear. The devil loves fear, and he loves to put it into your mind. I don't know how many times I've watched people talk about scary movies, and you get these people that, all of a sudden you see people wearing crosses, and, they're wearing the t-shirts, and they're putting all this stuff on, and they're talking a good walk. But in reality, when you walk into their homes, you see something totally different. I'm the same no matter however you get it. And I believe that's why a lot of my emotions and a lot of my, because I'm constantly thinking. I'm constantly hearing, and I'm constantly trying to record everything that I hear. There is going to come a time food is going to be more scarce than ever. And you look at what's coming. Food, utilities, water. It's the 3 things we can't function without. Now, we can function without electricity, gas. We can function without cell phones, but some of these people are going to go mad. So many people ask if Donald Trump, do I believe that if Donald Trump's going to get put back in office? What about these people that's been speaking about Donald Trump getting back in office way before they said in 2021, 2022, 2023 that Donald Trump would be placed in there? Then all of a sudden that God's tarrying or God's doing this or no. No, they just correctly misspoke it. Now, I'm not saying God can't tarry, and I'm not saying that God doesn't do something. But you got to understand, when we intervene the wrong way, then God has to tarry. There's nobody really praying anymore. Look at all the stuff going on in the schools. We take God out of the schools, look what enters. Transgenders. And again, going back to the one person that asked me, and when I finally went into the whole thing with them, I said, well, why are you asking me all this? Because I don't want to go to hell. Is it truly what I'm doing a damnation? Yes, it truly is. It's a mockery of God is what you're doing. Because you're pretty much saying that God can't even create a person. Now, so many people are bringing the whole birth and why women become women and guy, the XY's, the XY, I don't know. Anyways, I know it's something like that, but I don't even want to butcher it. But if any of you nurses or doctors or anybody that's in that field, if you come across these videos, maybe you can comment the whole male XYZ thing or XYY or whatever makes the man to a female. Because I know one of them you drop off and it adds an extra Y or an extra X or something. God doesn't make mistake, people. You may be a man and have some female features about you. Doesn't make you a woman. You choose to become what you want. And again, I'm just going to throw this out there because this is what I told them. I said, do you have a girlfriend? Or do you consider your girlfriend a boyfriend? I do. But she's the man of the house. And she said, I said, does she look like a guy? Not at first she didn't. She had real long hair. Then she cut her hair off. Then she's got a couple tattoos. She started working out. And she stopped wearing a bra and stuff. And I said, isn't that amazing? Wearing guys' clothes, attitudes, snappy all the time, and they're just blah, 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 blah. Now, do you love this person more now that they look like this or before? Well, the way they look now. Amazing. What's so amazing about that? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because if you're more attracted to someone that looks like a man than someone that looks like a woman, then please explain to me where in this equation did God create woman and woman and man? Because if you create woman and woman, then you would be attracted solely to a woman that looks like a woman, not a woman that looks like a man, that talks like a man, looks like a man, but then gets offended when someone calls them sir. Or I'm going to use my set of pronouns. Give me a break. Where did all this garbage come from? I'm going to identify as a cat today. Well, I'm going to identify as a millionaire, like I said before. When you make me a millionaire, and in that I can identify as that, then by all means, I will accept. It's never going to happen. So I don't have to worry about accepting what they do. See, because the Lord says, when they come to him and they said, surely, Lord, your mother and your brother is out there. And he says, who then is my mother or my brother? For they are the ones who does the will of my Father. So what does that say about Mary? Was Mary doing the will of the Father? For him to say such thing? Was John? For him to say such things? You ever think about some of this stuff? I think about this stuff all the time. And I know some people say, well, you know, when you're in heaven, why don't you ask God to heal you? Or if you're with the Lord, why don't you ask? Because I'm not thinking about it, because I'm not hurting there. It's nothing but pain here. You know, you deal with your children. You deal with the hatred and stuff of that. You know, I've spoke a lot on these videos with family. And it's unbelievable. So much of it is such cowardly things, you know. And the devil, these people are becoming more and more coward as it goes along. You know, and you have to understand that we have to be on top of our game right now more than anything. The devil is gaining ground, but yet you're losing your footsteps, per se. You know, you go back into the times of suicide, you go back into the times that I was out of control. And I think about abortions, and I think about, I seen a child being aborted off of a rusty old fold-out table. And I seen the baby being aborted, and I seen the angel carrying the baby, weeping, and taking the baby back, and laid the baby down, and the baby came alive. And her laying her head down at the feet of Jesus, crying. And I said, Jesus, why does she cry like this? Because her very purpose is no longer a purpose, because they aborted the child. You start thinking about abortions. Like I said in the one video, I don't know if it aired or not, but I did say, you know, you think about murder. It's not a heartbeat murder. Well, it's not all the way. It's still in this many. It doesn't matter if it's physically got a heartbeat and you take that child's life. It's murder. So what's the difference between somebody going out and a demonic entity drowning them children or doing something bad to them children, killing that children? But then again, you are willingly going because you want to be happy-go-lucky with your body, because your body is not sacred. It doesn't mean anything. Matter of fact, some people use their body for their own gain. Think about it. What is the number one growing sin right now? And no, I'm not looking down at paper. I'm not looking to... And again, some people get a little irritated when they go, Nelson, why do you waste your time even explaining this stuff? Because you got to understand the devil. You got to understand how to defeat the devil. That's why I say and do what I do. But you know, you think about the whole concept of what's happening right now. You think about how things are changing. The number one problem is lust of the flesh, of sexual lust. Sexual. It's been a long day. You go on YouTube, you look at these shorts that are on there, you look at all these things coming on there. I just seen a video not too long ago when I was checking to see if they allowed this video, the other one to upload, and they didn't on that one either. But there's this lady that's claiming to be a carpenter, claiming to be doing houses, and she's walking around with just bib overhauls on, no shirt, but you could clearly make out everything but almost a nipple on this. And I'm telling you this because think about this. You got all these people doing all these crazy videos and these shorts and making sound effects, making all this. People, what do you think this is doing to the generation of the young boys that are growing up in this sexual sin era that we're in? How many of your kids are watching this crap? How many of your daughters are doing these videos? How many of you have stumbled across, and maybe your children are watching these videos? That's what I've been talking about from the long time ago. And here we are, people. This stuff is all over the place. Again, it's amazing how you talk about the government, you talk about God, and you are banned and things are taken off. You mention a sickness, and all of a sudden it's wrong. You mention the things the government's truly doing, and it's wrong. Now, I found out not too long ago that YouTube is owned by China. I find that kind of hard to believe, because you would think the things I speak about, China would be excited, because I'm coming against basically our government. I'm exposing what the government's doing. Now, you think China would be ecstatic about that. But it's the opposite. I'm being hit for it pretty dang on hard when they're canceling videos out and suspending. So I don't know. I kind of question that. Will we see 2024 election? I believe so. I believe so. I still believe something's going to powerful happen between now and 2024, the end of 2024. And I know some of you may say, well, Nelson, there's 12 months. It's 365 days. We still got half a month in this. Yes, you're right. And I agree with you. All I can do is present to you the facts and the time frame of what I get. Now, you may say, well, what's going to bring with it? I don't know yet. But I will know very soon here. I will know very, very soon, because he's been revealing a lot of things to me. So, the next couple videos, I'm just going to give you kind of a rundown. You know, I know some of you aren't so crazy about the hell stuff, but that's coming. The different locations of heaven, which I found very interesting. Again, I have not been through that many parts of heaven. I've been up to heaven a lot, but again, on the garden side. So I'm going to bring to light some of the things that I have seen, and it's totally incredible. I mean, truly is. There's something else. Well, pretty much every video I talk about repentance. Every video I talk about allowing Jesus to examine you, you to examine yourself, and stop living a fleshly life, and stop pointing the fingers, stop gossiping about people, trying to break down their temple, when in reality, that plank is sticking out of your eyes so dang on long, it's like Pinocchio. The more you keep going, the more that thing keeps growing. You know, so you got to stop. If you're one of them people that is a people pleaser, you have to be loved by the world. And that's how Darlene's youngest daughter was. She had to be loved by people. You know, she couldn't stand not having that attention. Devil knows it. That's why her life is it's upside down. And she's lost. Because the devil wasn't done with her. You know, when the devil invests this into your life, you're an investment. I've talked about this before. You know, you got to be very careful of what you're doing. I don't know how many minutes is in this. 54. So, I got to... Matter of fact, I think he commented off there, and I actually went to lunch and stuff with him. So I'm going to watch his testimony video. I've been wanting to see this thing. I don't have his permission to put anything on here, so I'm not going to, or I'm not going to share his information without having that permission. I did invite him on to do a video, but you know, what I'm gathering is you know, he's got his own channel and stuff going now, so he's probably, I would imagine, probably swamped. And don't have, I mean, I don't know if he would even have time to come on here. But, Brandon, I am excited. One of the things that, when Brandon does make it down there, it was kind of cool because Brandon asked if he could see the two houses that still stand. The one that I grew up in Copley as a young man. Well, as a young child from birth up. So I told him, I said, yeah, I'll take you by there and show you that, and I'll show you the other one as a teenager. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to show the picture of the one in Copley, but probably could just, as we're driving by it and showing him, we probably could just outside of it. And it's always good to see pictures with things. You know, because you put, you know, I'm a name and a face type person. I can't stand to have someone's name and not be able to see what they look like. I don't know why, it just drives me crazy. But, anyways, but the one's kind of, it's boarded up, so I wouldn't have any problems filming that one, but I don't want to bring a whole lot of attention to it because we know how people get. People want to get in there, people want to look around, and that's exactly what the devil's trying to do. I had a cat I was taking to drop it off at the shelter, and I had it in one of them carrying bags, and this thing got out of this thing. Now I'm driving along and I'm right by the cemetery and this cat's going crazy. I mean, it's like literally all over the place inside the car, and when it got out, and it was biting my feet. I mean, I got claw marks still on my leg where this thing just crawled up me and just ripped into me for no reason. Well, the window was down just enough, and it jumped out the window and ran to that house. When I pulled down the alleyway and I stopped, that cat is just sitting up there. And I kept feeling like I started to open the door and I started to walk up there, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It was like that house wanted me to come in there. And I turned around and walked right back to the car. I don't know whatever happened to the cat. I don't know where it went, but isn't that amazing? I find that very amazing that that cat acted up at that particular time and went straight to that house. For whatever reason, that cat and whatever is involved with it wanted that cat there. It wanted me to get out of the car and walk up there. And I truly believe that. The presence was... Matter of fact, when I finally got back in the car and I turned the corner and I went up the road, it was hard for me to breathe. It was like a stack of elephants sitting right on my chest. It was intense. It was an intense moment that every time I drive by there and I look to see if it's still up and I still see the boards and the curtains, it drives me crazy. It's almost like I just want to go make the thing cave in myself. Amazing part is it's boarded up. There's no for rent signs. There's no nothing. It's like it exists, but it don't exist. It's the craziest thing ever. But I am going to do the live event. I'm going to go into the more on the whole Christmas thing. I'm not going to spend a lot on the Christmas thing because I think we I think the majority of the people who's been on this channel long enough will agree with me going, yeah, Nelson, we get it. And I'm okay with that too. But there's a few things I want to touch on that, because I don't want people confused, and I don't want people to get misled by a bunch of nonsense either. So the examination, that's probably going to be a video in itself, because there's a lot involved with that. The return to hell and back. I'm calling it the return to hell to return to heaven, because the heaven video that I did wasn't. I really didn't like it, and even the one on Randy K, I really didn't care for that one either. I mean, it just, the more I went back and I watched that video again the other day, the from hell to heaven video on Randy K, I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. And I wish I could really go on there and just change it, but I can't. So, that being said, I'm going to touch on some of that, but I'm also going to give you some prophetic messages that the Lord gave me. And this stuff is also coming. So, get ready to get back into the roller coaster if you're ready. Let's do it. Let's get back on. It's time to get back on, and it's time for us to continue on where that track is. So, there is a few more videos that I've worked long and hard on, and I'm going to go into the prayer realm on that, along with some of the spiritual tongue preferences. Right, so I'm just going to leave it at that for now. It's good to be back on. It's good to be back, guys. Just be careful. Continue to look at your household. Continue to look at what's going on around you. Your work. Don't sacrifice God's word and man. That's going to be a nice teaching. And I might actually do that one next. I don't know. Whatever God wants. It's God's channel. It's God's time. Not mine. Really, not even yours. It's either devil's or it's God's. One of the two. But either way, God bless you. I love you. Let me pray for you. Heavenly Father, whoever comes across these videos, whoever comes across, Father, first of all, it's your word, so they have the opportunity to take these videos and share them, take them into the churches. We gotta do the will. The will of you is to speak about your Son, which leads to you. The will of you is for us to present this into the world and give an opportunity to save people from these events and stuff that are coming up. And once entered into hell, there is no escaping it once you're totally surrendered into that realm. And we know that our days are growing and shorter, and we know that these days are being numbered and things are flowing past. Wow. Man. All of a sudden, I almost felt like I was going to black out, pass out. I mean, it was crazy. Like, I had no, like, it's kind of like when I had, like, that mini stroke. I mean, it's wow. I'm telling you, it's something. I don't know what it was. I literally had no hearing, no nothing. I knew I was praying, but it was like nothing. That's kind of weird. Now I'm going to have to go back and listen to the prayer, because, I mean, whatever it was didn't want me to go into any more of that prayer, I guess. It's like I'm sweating. I mean, it's intense. Phew. I just pray the blood of Jesus over anybody watching this video. And I pray no attachments, anything, whatever's trying to interfere with this. I rebuke it. I rebuke it in the blood of the Lord Jesus Christ. I rebuke this away from this channel, from any of these people watching it, their households, their families. I pray for return of their children, return of their grandchildren into their homes. I pray for the fathers to finally stand up and cast out Lucifer and your demons from their households. And I ask for angels of protection around them. And I ask for these things to be put in place where there is no more distractions. And these children are looking at what's in their lives, and these demonic things the chains be broken around them, and they're being released back into their spiritual body, and they can take control back over their body, and the evil ones have to leave. And the power and authority of Jesus Christ, I pray of these things. For the power is over this. The power compels you to leave us, to be gone. Wow. It's kind of like, I don't know if anybody ever fought, like boxing, because when I first started off, I didn't start off in boxing. It was, like the MMA style stuff. But the coach always told us, like, if you felt like you were going to pass out or something, just start counting to 10, but count slowly. And people, I don't know what is going on. But anyways, God bless you. Examine yourselves, people. Start trying to change your habits of coming, if you are coming against people, or you are gossiping, or if you're watching porn, or you're watching any of these short videos that are on here, and all these things, keep an eye on what your children's doing. The number one gift that we can give anybody is Jesus Christ. That's the best gift of all things, because he's the purpose and the reason. If Jesus wasn't born and we didn't celebrate his birth, then we would have no way to be joyful, and we would have never gone to the crucifixion. And I'm just going to end the video, guys. God bless you. Until the next one.